What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Pick Six Podcast, CBS Sports Daily NFL Podcast. I'm Will Brinson. I'm your host. It's Tuesday, September 8th. Happy post-Labor Day, and welcome to the week that is the NFL season. It's beginning. Football is here. We are 2 days away from Texans and Chiefs and the first game of the 2020 NFL season, a season that we didn't think would get here. And it's time to preview this bad boy with a bold predictions episode and the Super Friends. Joining me, Ryan Wilson and John Breech McGuff.
My first bold prediction of the year is that Ryan Wilson will grow hair this season.
On his face?
No, wait a second, though.
I'm not going to say where. I'm not going to say what body part. That's the twist here. I'm not going to say what body part or what part of his body.
What? That got weird.
No, it's a
Do you think Ryan's going to hit puberty in 2020?
Finally.
By the way, I'm already 1 for 1 on bold predictions.
What was it?
Teaser for later in the show. My bold prediction was John Breech would have a bold prediction about the Bengals. And spoiler, he's got one coming.
Not a bold prediction.
Well, you said you weren't going to have one.
Yeah, that was a teaser to the audience, so they wouldn't think I would have one.
That's not what a teaser is. A teaser tells somebody what's coming, not the opposite of what's happening. That's called a lie.
Tomato. All right, let's go. Come on.
If you want to see Wilson pronounce tomato, if you want to see me hold up 2 fingers, if you want to see me wearing a Best Cavalier Dad shirt with a picture of a wonky-eyed spaniel high-fiving a adult hand, go to youtube.com/pick6. There's one thing that you could do for us before the season starts. Go to youtube.com/pick6 and hit the subscribe button. We're trying to win a pizza party, and you can watch our recaps. I'll tell you what, all of our shows are now on YouTube. I'm not saying you're going to want to watch every one of them, but I could think of less entertaining things to do on a Monday morning than to wake up and see what we look like recording the Sunday night show. It's going to tamper down a little bit, I would guess, the consumption, maybe? What do you think?
Because we're on video?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that I want everybody to see exactly how much I'm drinking throughout the course of a normal Sunday night show.
No, that's where you buy a 34-ounce cup, and then nobody knows how many ounces are in there.
No. You get a beer helmet connected straight to the keg, and you just sip on it, and no one knows when you're sipping on it.
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Debo, are you on video for this show, or are you just on video in the background?
No, not today. I got to work on, my parents' setup here. Find the cabinet back there.
Do you think that eventually you'll be on video doing the show with us on a regular basis, or is that just too because it's not like you're talking 24/7, for the entire length of the show.
Well, that time will tell. We'll see.
Ooh, I like the idea of a little producer cam.
Yeah,
this happens a lot. Producers step in and take over. That's my bold prediction for 2020 in this podcast. Debo becomes the 4th super friend. And that's how we get the quadrant boxes with Debo's camera constantly working. Debo just has to work 24/7 knowing that there's a camera on him, which does not seem very fun, but
Debo's working, just to be fair, Debo's working all the time anyway. You seem not to care when the camera's on you and you're still not doing any work. So I don't think there's the precedent's been set. Yeah.
I assume the camera's on me 24/7 and that people are glaring at me and watching me and judging me all the time.
All sounds correct.
Yeah, sounds accurate. So look, we're gonna do division by division bold predictions. If you want to read John Breech's piece on this, go to cbssports.com. Of course, a lot of times our podcast content will line up with editorial content, and of course it does in this case. So Breech, we'll start with you. You've got a crazy bold prediction for the AFC East that you really kick us off with here.
By the way, before Breech starts, let's grade quickly after each division round how bold the predictions are.
Okay, I like it.
Okay. I think this is bold. I'm not sure why Brinson keeps making fun of it. And also, you know what else is coming tomorrow? People are listening on Tuesday. On Wednesday, we have our overall season prediction story. I'm teasing that, Brinson, and how to use tease this time. I figured it out in the 10 minutes since you told me. You can see who Brinson's going to pick for the Super Bowl. Of course, he hasn't told me yet, so I don't know if it'll even be in the story. Anyway, my bold –
you said you wanted them by Friday, and we're recording this on Thursday.
My bold prediction for the AFC East in 2020 is that Cam Newton
read it like it's written.
That
the Patriots win the division.
Those are notes, so I remember what to say. The order does not matter. This is not. I'm reading my own prediction. Okay. Anyway, I know what the prediction is, and it's that Cam Newton leads the NFL and QB rushing yards and touchdowns, and Newton's good season means that the Patriots win the division.
Okay. So you're getting blitzed because the Patriots are co-favorites to win the division. I think that the way you phrased it, I'm not surprised that you weaseled out of it because this is just what you do and you're good at it. That's a compliment to you, John Breech. You are great at weaseling out of things. Clearly, this is a C- at best bold prediction for the Patriots win the division as co-favorites, but you're sort of putting Cam in the MVP conversation if he leads the NFL in QB rushing yards and rushing touchdowns, and the Patriots win the division. So I know we're not supposed to actually give a grade, but you would float in the B+ range here, I think.
Yeah, I think that's right. You going to put a number on the rushing yards, Breech, and the touchdowns?
You know what? I will say on the rushing yards, Lamar Jackson obviously led the NFL. He finished with over 1,200 last season. I think second place was under 600. So I'm going to put Cam at like 800 because I don't think that Lamar Jackson's going to get anywhere near 1,000. He had a fantastic season, but I do think that teams are going to be more cognizant of trying to stop him. So I'll say Lamar gets 700. Cam tops that.
Cam is not typically somebody who puts up huge rushing yardage numbers, even like his big rushing seasons. He's really more of a short yardage touchdown guy. And I mean, look, 800 is big, but he's not like, I don't think has he ever cracked, maybe he's cracked 1,000 one time. I don't know if he has.
He has not. His career high in rushing yards is 754, but he's gone over 700 3 times. So might I even suggest you tailor this and say Cam Newton has a career high in rushing yards?
We could. That would be bold.
But I think that Josh McDaniels is kind of licking his chops because he couldn't ever do any of this stuff with Tom Brady. Now he's like, oh my God, I have a quarterback who can at least run the ball further than 6 inches, which is about all Brady could do on those QB sneaks.
He drafted Tim Tebow in the first round in Denver. He's clearly wanted to do this for a while.
He's waited 10 years, and now he's finally got his quarterback.
So I think if Cam Newton plays 16 games, I think the Patriots will cruise in this division.
All right, my AFC East bowl prediction: Tom Brady rushes for more yards than Cam Newton. Go ahead, Brinson.
Wow.
No, that's not it. All right, here it is.
Who rushes for more yards, Leonard Fournette or Cam Newton?
Well, that leads me to a bowl prediction I have later in the show.
Okay. All right. Well, who's your AFC East bowl prediction, Wilson?
The Bills make it to the AFC Championship game. Josh Allen throws for 4,000 yards and runs for 700 yards.
Jeez.
That's called bold, Breech. So just as a point of reference.
How many wins do the Bills have in this scenario?
They're going to win 11 games.
And the division title?
Breech, I'll give Breech his division title. I'll just let the
well, I asked that because I think that if Josh Allen throws for 4,000 passing yards, runs for 700 yards, presumably you're talking – no, I'm serious. I don't think it's that crazy. But you're talking about 25 passing touchdowns and probably 10 rushing touchdowns, and the Bills win 11 games. Josh Allen for MVP.
I would say he ran for 631 his rookie year.
Right.
I think the boldest part of Ryan's prediction is the AFC Championship game thing.
I think it's the passing yards.
I think the passing yards would be crazy, but he's gotten steadily better. I think he had just over 2,000 his rookie year, just over 3,000 last year. And obviously 3,000, 4,000 is a huge jump. But
he doesn't have a 300-yard passing game.
He has better receivers this year. He didn't have any very good receivers in 2018. This is obviously going to be his best arsenal. But the Bills getting to the AFC Championship game, Ryan? Who's not getting there? The Ravens or the Chiefs?
Did the Ravens play in it last year?
Whoa. You're talking to the guy that predicted them to lose.
Oh, what a big jam. Wallace took it in his hands and said, up and away.
At the full Monty on that one, too.
Did Breech try and follow that with your talking to the guy who picked the Packers?
No, I said you're talking to the guy who picked the Ravens to lose to the Titans.
And by the way,
the one guy in the entire –
That's not true. All right, my
go ahead,
AFC East bowl prediction. This is bold. Ed Oliver wins Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, that's crazy.
He's 100-1. I think there is some value in betting in it, as we talked about on Friday with our pal Drew Dinsick, aka Whale Capper. It's a long shot. It's 10-1. You're not putting $100 on this. Maybe you'll wish you had later on down the road, but toss $10 on it. If Ed Oliver has a athletic profile similar to Aaron Donald, not exactly the same. Nobody's Aaron Donald, but smaller, compact. ability to rush the passer from the interior. The Bills are loaded on defense. And if that defense takes a leap forward and becomes the best defense in the league, hands down, it was very close last year. And Ed Oliver plays 80% of the snaps. He can get like 12 sacks and a bunch of tackles and a bunch of different stats. I think he can be in a conversation.
Bunch of different stats.
I mean, like just like defensive passes.
I know. It reminded me of what did Sean used to make fun of you for saying that one time? You said something like, "And he does things on the field."
He does stuff on the field.
He does stuff. All right. So I in terms of like boldness of that prediction, that's an A. Like Breech comes in third, I think, in this round of bold predictions.
Yes, I would agree with that. Yes, Breech, yours is the most likely to happen and therefore the less bold.
Cam leading the NFL in QB rushing yards is the most likely to happen.
That's way more likely to happen than Josh Allen throwing for
rushing for 700 yards is the most likely thing to happen.
But what's the other half of your bold prediction?
Cam leading in touchdowns.
Patriots win the division. Come on, that was the lead. That's the hook.
That's the most likely.
No. You're a little bold prediction Trojan horse is what you are. You use Cam Newton to storm the gate, open it, and then be like, the Patriots win the division. Bold prediction. I was right. So when Cam Newton runs for 600 yards and 5 touchdowns, you're like, well, the Patriots didn't win the division, and I was right in my process. Even though he's like 400 yards behind Lamar Jackson, you can see
the process, Brinson,
from miles away.
Process. And what? I do like Brinson's Ed Oliver prediction as a long shot because you look at the rest of the division, like it is prime for just killing the other teams because Cam Newton's playing in a new offense. Who knows what he's going to understand the first few weeks of the season. Maybe he gets destroyed. Sam Darnold seeing ghosts. Who knows what's happening in New York. And then, the Dolphins are okay, I guess. But
what does it say about the division? Well, what does it say about the division that we have to use the Pats or the Bills to get the bold prediction? Because nobody wants to go out on the limb and say that the Dolphins or Jets will win the division. I mean, that would be the obvious.
You were on the Jets make the playoffs bandwagon a couple months ago. Even you.
Yeah, and then they lost their 2 best defensive players and don't know what they're doing on offense. I think if you're going to go bold prediction outside of the Bills or Pats, you could go with Sam Darnold or Ryan Fitzpatrick as the best quarterback in the division. That's not that crazy.
Yeah, I mean, if Cam's hurt.
Well, Cam's hurt and Josh Allen is Josh Allen.
You just made the case for why Josh Allen's going to win MVP.
It's 40-1. I've heard people bang that drum before. All right, let's move on.
Before we move on, you talk about Mitchell Trubisky last year.
Again,
I still need my money.
I give Josh Allen in Jacksonville a better chance of winning MVP than Josh Allen in Buffalo.
Okay.
That's stupid.
Losers go first. And since you came in last, John, NFC East, what's your bold prediction?
My bold prediction is that Dak Prescott wins the NFL MVP.
This is
all right.
The first one.
Let's go and look at the William Hill odds. I'm sure Dak will be a huge dark horse to win MVP.
Let me guess. Is it 2,000 to 1? Is that what the odds are for Dak?
No, you won't believe this, but as it turns out, let's see, where's MVP?
15 to 1, and he's the 5th favorite.
Wow.
Fifth? He's not even the top 3. He's not the top 4.
No, he's top 5. That's what 5th means.
Did you just say he's not top 4?
He's not top 3 or top 4, so qualifies as bold.
All right.
You just said Debo said he's the 5th option, and you said he's not top 4, as if top 4. Where is that?
No, first I said he's not top 3, and then I said he's not top 4.
Okay, so he's behind. Let's see if we can figure out who he's behind. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, the last 2 MVPs, Drew Brees, and Tom Brady.
Deshaun, is he on there?
Brees is 18 to 1, so he's behind Dak. Deshaun is 14 to 1.
Oh.
And you're missing the 3rd one.
Brady's 16 to 1, maybe?
16 to 1, right behind Dak. 3rd one, never received an MVP vote.
Oh, Russell. God, how we missed that.
And he's at 8 to 1. Lamar 6 to 1. Patrick Mahomes plus 350.
Look, it's 15 to 1, so it's reasonably bold. But look, the reality is you're trying to hit a high percentage of your bold predictions and then brag about a high percentage of your bold predictions. Look, you're good at massaging the truth, Breech. You're good at it. You know how to find something that you can technically qualify as bold, but we all know isn't that bold. Like their defense.
Dak Prescott winning the MVP would be bold. When's the last time a Cowboys player won MVP? Do you know? Tell me.
Probably Troy Aikman.
Wrong.
Emmitt Smith?
True.
Just a pre-dunking My bold prediction for the NFC West is going to be less bold than Breech's. Let's put that out there. All right.
Well, I mean, here's the thing with Dak and MVP. I don't think it's that crazy. Like so when you're doing your awards, you're sending the awards email to Cody Benjamin, who's compiling those, Breech. Is Dak your choice for MVP?
He is.
He has to be.
So it's not even bold because it's actually your just regular prediction too.
That's still bold. A bold prediction can still be your regular prediction.
I'm fine. I'm fine with that.
Thanks, Ryan.
All right.
Ryan's on team Breech.
Well, no, Dak. Look, I'll go next because Dak Prescott dovetails directly into my prediction that the Cowboys will have 3 1,000-yard receivers in 2020.
That's an A+ because it's not going to happen. Go ahead.
It's unlikely to happen, but here's the nice thing. You have 4 guys to choose from because I think Blake Jarwin can kind of qualify as a sleeper to go for it. I don't think that's likely, but if Amari Cooper's – well, it's not likely, but yeah. Amari Cooper's sort of banged up. There's buzz heading into week 1 that he might not exactly be 100% to play, which would mean Michael Gallup, coming for a big season. And then, of course, CeeDee Lamb, the rookie out of Oklahoma, my number 3 player in the entire draft class heading into the draft, and he lands in a perfect spot. I don't see how Dak Prescott all right, what is the floor for Dak Prescott statistically in 2020
Last year, 2,000 passing yards because Mike McCarthy runs the ball 500 times.
Mike McCarthy's not that conservative running the ball. He last season he had 65% completions, 4,900 yards, 30 touchdowns, 11 picks. What is his statistical floor? I think that if he took a step back this year, I'll say his floor is 65% completions again, 4,500 yards.
Yep.
25 or 28 touchdowns and 10 picks.
I mean, he took a step back, quote unquote, last year.
What?
People thought that
massive leap forward statistically.
What do you mean?
He'd never been over 4,000 passing yards, and he went to.
But I mean, in terms of the way he played week in and week out, people were down on Dak.
Yeah, sure. People like to get on Dak.
Right. My point is that I think the floor is going to be pretty close to what we saw last year.
I will say that although this seems like it would dovetail into a Dak MVP win, of all the times there have been 3 teammates who finished with 1,000 yards or more each, only one time ever has their quarterback won MVP.
Which time was that?
Fun fact. It was the time in 2004 when Marvin Harrison.
Oh, yeah, Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning won MVP. Can you name
Marvin, Reggie Wayne, and
Dallas Clark.
Who's the third?
Dallas Clark.
Not Dallas Clark.
Oh, wait. No, it's Pierre Garçon.
Not Pierre Garçon.
Oh, it was the running back, Joseph Adai.
Oh, wrong.
Yeah,
the other running back?
No, hold on. Oh, is it Anthony Gonzalez?
That is incorrect.
Who is it?
Who was it? No,
you have more guesses, or do you just want me to tell you?
Well, what position does he play?
He plays wide receiver because it's 3 receivers who have
to. Brandon Stokely.
Stokely, good call.
It's Stokely.
Yeah,
What was the dunking on for?
You said what position does he play?
What position does he play?
It's 3 receivers.
Defensive end.
Oh, sorry. Well, I was guessing Joseph Adai. I was guessing Dallas Clark, so I didn't know. I didn't hear that part.
And look, part of the predication on this 3 wide receiver thing, and I think the Dak Prescott MVP is not that Dak is just going to massively elevate his play. The Cowboys defense could be terrible this year, or at least take a huge step back, whereas the offense might just make this massive leap forward. And again, when you look at MVP, and Whale Cap and I talked about this, and this is the reasoning behind Mitchell Trubisky. It wasn't that we think Mitchell Trubisky's great. It's that to identify an MVP candidate, you need to find a quarterback on a team that can win their division in 10-plus games. And so you're looking for teams with high over-unders. Josh Allen qualifies. He's a good pick. Jimmy Garoppolo.
Who's better? Who's better MVP odds in your mind? Jimmy G or Josh Allen?
Jimmy G's 33-1. Josh Allen's 40-1. I'd rather have Jimmy G.
I'd rather have Josh.
I think so too.
Okay.
All right. Can I do mine?
You may. This is a good one.
NFC East. This is a real good one. Love it. Terry McLaurin, Scary Terry, will have more receiving yards than any other wide receiver in that division.
Yeah. All right. That's the winner for this round. That's the A+ one because it's realistic, but it's also bold because you got a bunch of receivers in Philly, the guys that they added plus Deshaun Jackson. and I guess Alshon Jeffrey's still alive. You have some receivers in New York.
Sterling Shepard, Golden Tate,
Saquon Barkley. I mean,
Barkley, Evan Ingram.
Yeah, they got guys in New York. And then, of course, you have, as I mentioned, 3 guys in Dallas that could go monster.
And you have a quarterback that everyone has no idea how he's going to play in Dwayne Haskins.
Correct. If you, I would say that the odds of this happening, I guess it's, what are the odds of Terry McLaurin having the most receiving yards?
They're better than the odds of Ed Oliver winning the defensive MVP, I think.
Are they better than Dak Prescott's MVP odds?
15-1.
Terry McLaurin finished 270 yards away from leading the NFC East in receiving last year.
As a rookie, with a rookie quarterback.
As a rookie with a rookie. So I think it's within the realm of possibility.
I'd say it's I think, well, you're talking about a much smaller scale. Like if you're like Dak Prescott MVP of the NFC East, he would be the like minus 300. You know, so like it's not like we're saying Terry McLaurin will lead the league in rushing yards. That's probably 50-1. It's actually be a pretty good bet.
10-1? Is that too much?
I think it's probably 10 to 15-1. I think it's about on the scale of Dak winning MVP, but you're asking him to beat out a bunch of guys who I don't think he would be the favorite. So I like that. I think it's a great
plus though, Brinson. You just used my strategy of making a realistic pick that could hit and gave Wilson an A+ for it and giving me Fs for it. Dunk, please. I need a dunk. Anyway,
that's called the breach dunk.
Terry McLaurin finished 3rd overall in the NFC East in receiving. So jumping up to 1 doesn't strike me as super bold. I'm giving this a C+.
Why are you such a wet blanket, John?
I just wanted to give a C+. I'm giving Brinson a B+.
C+. Unbelievable.
Okay.
All right, AFC
Tebow.
And I'm giving
no, we can't move on. We got to get an
Oh,
Eagles bold prediction from our producer in the Eagles hat and the parental advisory Doug shirt.
Carson MVP. It's worse odds than Dak, so I'm taking it. I wasn't prepared for this.
Yeah, we know.
You sound like Brinson.
Nobody's making fun of you for not being prepared, to be clear.
Jalen Hurts.
Ooh, say
MVP.
it.
Thinking of something. Jalen Hurts. That's the start of it.
Oh, Jalen Hurts has more rushing. Jalen Hurts, hold on. Jalen Hurts has more rushing yards than Cam Newton.
See,
Jalen Hurts starts more games at quarterback than Carson Wentz.
We're not doing that. We're saying
breach. Wet blanket breach.
Did you hear the end of the conversation with Whale Capper?
No. My house is filled with wet blankets, Ryan.
So on for Friday's show, Drew and I were talking, and I was like, we were like talking about like, you know what, Jalen Hurts at 80-1 is not that crazy for offensive rookie of the year. Excuse me, for Thursday's podcast. That's right. Kenny White is Friday's podcast. And we're like, and I was like sort of giggling because I knew like I could see Debo didn't have his camera on. I could see him be like, and I was like, Debo, would you like to respond? And he's just dead silent. I was like, oh my God, he's really mad. And it turned out Debo had like gone and like into a different chat or like something else was going on. And so he wasn't listening, but I kind of like the Jalen Hurts bold prediction. Jalen Hurts starts more games than Carson Wentz.
Yeah,
and Carson Wentz is healthy. Bum, bum, bum.
I'm not convinced Jalen Hurts would be the guy to start if Carson Wentz.
All right, you're a Nate truther?
I'm not a truther. I just read the depth chart. But let's say Jalen Hurts, more total touchdowns than Taysom Hill. Bold prediction.
That's a good one. I like that. Do we need to talk anything about the Giants? Or do we not care about the Giants?
They didn't make the list.
Didn't make the list. Sorry, there's only 3 of us. 3. And Debo chimed in with the Eagles, so no Giants.
And Bleep wouldn't have brought up the Giants anyway.
No.
In it, we got to let this guy go. The season's here. You're gone, Bleep. Dead to us. AFC North. Oh, boy. Here's a stupid division. All right, Breech. You know what? Should I start? I'll start since I'm 1 for 1 on the AFC North because I predicted that Breech's bold prediction would involve the Bengals. Mine does not involve the Bengals. It involves the Browns. I was trying to figure out a way to properly capture my enthusiasm for Odell Beckham and Nick Chubb and Baker Mayfield and what I think will be a good Browns offense. I don't know that it'll be great out of the gates. I think a team like the Browns could absolutely struggle because they're adding so many new pieces, especially the tackle positions and a new system and all that. However, I am firmly entrenched in the idea that Baker Mayfield is going to have an awesome year that vaults him back into the upper echelon of ascending young quarterbacks I think so sports trading cards are kind of a big thing now again. Football cards.
They are? How about that?
Huge. Yeah, they're like a signed Luka Doncic card goes for like $25,000.
I didn't know basketball cards were a thing.
Talking about Jim Breech cards on eBay?
No, it turns out all the ones that we collected as kids are worthless.
The Mike Trout one just went for like $3.2 million.
Yes.
A rookie card. And he was drafted in 2010.
Yeah, it's insane.
Wait a second. So, like, literally the baseball cards from the 60s, 70s, and 80s are worth nothing now?
Yeah. So it's all basically it's functioning like a stock market where it's all predicated on what people are willing to pay because they think somebody's like. So anybody who's already finished their career, like
There's no change in their price.
I mean, yeah, basically.
So is Mike Trout worth more than Honus Wagner now? Because Honus Wagner was the
yes.
That beat the record. It beat it by a couple 100,000.
And one of the things with the baseball and football cards is that the companies, so like I'm sorting through all these cards up in my office. My wife is like, get these effing things out of here. They mass produce, like once the cards got popular, they just started mass producing all of these cards. You've got 1 billion Ken Griffey cards or whatever. Whereas these companies are producing them now, notably Panini, have put a pretty hard cap on the cards that are out there. They figured out that if they limit the supply that's hitting the marketplace, it won't go big. I got a buddy who dabbles in the card stuff, and he's like bought a bunch of TJ Warren cards, and then TJ Warren blew up in the bubble, and the cards improved by like 7 times.
Yeah,
why are you laughing, Devo? TJ Warren's a stud.
They improved 7 times to 50 cents.
This just sounds way too much
Were
like.
you trying to knock TJ Warren like the Sixers are hanging around in the playoffs or something? Got snuffed out, son.
How much are the TJ Warren cards worth?
Like $150 a pop? Yeah, I mean, he bought them for like $20 a pop, and they spiked up. I mean, you buy 10 of those cards and you make 7 times profit. That's great. You want to do that?
Sounds like the tulip market in Amsterdam in 1637. I'm not buying it. It's all going to collapse.
It probably will. It probably will.
Good point. All right, let's go.
But anyway, my point being is that I think you want to buy Baker Mayfield cards. Now, buy them on the cheap, and he's going to have a great year. Odell Beckham's going to go nuts. Nick Chubb's going to go nuts. This offense is going to be humming by the end of the year, and there will be a trendy Super Bowl pick. Once again, I will take
This is Will Brinson, brought to you by August 2019.
Did you just sign like some sort of endorsement deal with Upper Deck? You're just pitching cards here. Everybody go buy cards. Go buy cards.
I'm saying buy low on Baker Mayfield. I think Baker Mayfield, I'm going to predict Baker Mayfield wins comeback player of the year. What did he come back from, you're asking?
Yes.
A Freddie Outhouse.
That's fair. I mean, Alex Smith is winning that, but sure. That's what makes it bold, I guess.
Wait, did you say Alex Smith is winning that?
Yeah.
Okay, I got made fun of for saying that the other day. Was that on this podcast or was that somewhere on radio?
It wasn't me.
I don't think Ryan would have had the same idea and then made fun of it.
I said Alex Smith can win it without playing.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a comeback year if you have a vote on that award and Alex Smith is just on the sideline suited up,
right?
Are you voting for him?
That's what I said, and people were like, "You're insane. That cannot happen." I was like, "Why can't that happen?"
I put that in my predictions for the post that Cody Benjamin's putting together. Those similar words.
I would think that Ben Roethlisberger, if the Steelers win a bunch of games, he'll still beat out.
Did you see pictures of Alex Smith's leg? It was like the blood, his skin. Blood, you could see the bone.
You couldn't. I mean,
right,
I thought.
The argument was it not on this podcast, Devo? I swear somebody said it on the podcast.
Can't remember.
Who the hell knows?
Brinson, you take a week off before the season starts, and it starts in 2 days. So I don't know where you're gonna get that week from.
Me either. But like, I don't think he needs to play to win it. I think it'll be one of those honorary.
I agree with you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
somebody should have used that for the bold prediction for the NFC East.
Breech, go ahead, and I'll follow you because mine dovetails, as Brinson likes to say, off of yours.
My bold prediction is that Joe Burrow, speaking of Baker Mayfield, Joe Burrow breaks Baker Mayfield's record for the most touchdown passes ever thrown by a rookie. And that is a record that stood for 21 years, 1997 to 2018. And now Joe Burrow is going to break it in 2020 when he throws 75 touchdown passes. But the good news is if he doesn't hit 75, he only has to throw 27 to break the record. Joe Burrow, the record's yours, man. Don't let me down.
My bold prediction is that Juju Smith-Schuster will have 1,500 receiving yards, which is his all-time high. more than the 1,400 and change he had 2 years ago when Antonio Brown was number 1 receiver. And part B to that is that Joe Burrow will have more passing yards than Tom Brady. And to piggyback off that, I think Joe Burrow breaks Andrew Luck's rookie passing record.
Ooh,
Which I think is 4,200 yards.
Joe Burrow?
40, yeah, 42, let's see, 4,300 yards, excuse me.
Yeah. It used to be Cam's, and then Luck broke it the very next year.
So, boom.
Wow,
That's bold.
That is bold. That's too bold, too unnecessarily bold predictions. I like it.
All right.
Moving along. Nothing from the Ravens, by the way. Interesting.
Yeah, because
what's bold about the Lamar Jackson's going to rush for 3,000 yards?
I mean, is this
or Lamar
bold?
Jackson rushes for 500 yards.
What about this? J.K. Dobbins rushes for more yards than Lamar Jackson. Is that bold?
I say yes.
The Ravens don't win the division. Is that bold?
That would be very bold.
That's my bold prediction then.
Okay, so
Chalk it up, Debo.
yeah, add them to the list. NFC North. See, here's Breech again.
What?
Here's
That's
Breech again.
This is unbelievable. It's just a very likely scenario in which Breech.
Now,
comes
I
with
am
bold
predicting something that has only happened one time in 18 years, and Brinson is over here saying it's not bold. That's insane. That's
predictions.
insane.
One time in 18 years in that division?
Yeah, one time in 18 years in that division.
Bears and Lions always stink.
Yeah,
The
well,
Vikings always stink.
my bold prediction is that no team gets to double-digit wins in the NFC North. That has only happened once in 18 years. No matter how bad the Bears and Lions are, someone always gets to double-digit wins.
But not always.
17
I'm fine
out of
with
18 times.
Okay.
I'm fine with that one. That's
Breech, could you tell me which one of these teams has a double-digit win total in Las Vegas before the season?
Can you tell me which one of these teams had double-digit win last year?
What a big jam!
Yep, that was an excellent laugh track.
yeah. That's the trick, Breech. You have to talk through the dunking. You can't stop talking.
I learned.
No, actually,
I've
that's
learned
pretty-
from the best.
Look, Breech, you are the best at this. I will give you credit. These are like, you read them, you're like, okay, that's not. You're like, I guess it qualifies as bold, but it's like fairly likely to happen. I like it. I think it's a great call. I also agree with it and think it's likely. I think the division winner in the NFC North, a division that looks fairly mediocre, closes the season at 9-7. And in fact, that division winner will be none other than Matt Patricia, the Detroit Lions, and your MVP, Matthew Stafford. Now, that's a bold prediction, baby.
Yeah, it's too bold. I just don't get this Lions love, but we'll see. I mean, maybe it'll blow up in my face.
That's pretty bold.
And me and Jim Caldwell will issue a joint apology press conference
To me and Matt Patricia.
to you and Matt Patricia. My bold prediction actually isn't that bold, by the way.
But you and Jim Caldwell issuing an apology press conference to me and Matt Patricia. The optics of that might not go over well.
Oh yeah, that would be great. Yeah,
We're so sorry.
We're definitely doing it.
I think
sorry.
Matthew Stafford winning MVP is more bold because as Brinson is sitting here knocking my prediction that a team is not going to get to 10 wins and then saying that, hey, the Lions can win the division. They're going to win a bad division. That's not bold. So Matthew Stafford being MVP, I think, is bolder.
Very magnanimous.
It'd be crazy if it happens.
Yeah, my bold prediction actually isn't that bold. Go ahead. You want to reply to
I was going to say that I think the Stafford and the Lions, I actually think that my bold prediction goes hand in hand with Breech's. Because I don't know if Stafford could get it at 9 wins, but I think that no one else besides the line. I think that the Vikings, Bears, and Packers need to win less than 10 games in order for Matthew Stafford to get the MVP. And it comes via him playing 16 games, 5,000 passing yards, 40 touchdowns, which he was on pace for, or something in that realm, just underneath it. The Lions win 9 or 10 games and take down the division out of nowhere. And I think if that happens and it feels like Stafford's having this sort of transcendent breakout season, then he's absolutely in contention for MVP. He's at 66-1. That price is too low.
And Brinson, you mentioning them winning 9 or 10 games and Stafford winning it. Here is a trivia question for you guys. Which MVP was on the team that won the fewest games?
Is this a strike thing or something?
You guys can each have one guess, and I'll just tell you.
Well, hold on. Is it like a kooky strike year?
No, full season, 16 games.
What
16
decade?
season.
Give us a decade. I was going to say Steve McNair.
Wrong. Wilson, what's your guess?
Lamar Jackson. I have no idea.
The answer.
Hold on. Give us a decade.
Decade's the 90s.
Kurt Warner. Go ahead.
No,
That was a good guess, but that's not right. But that was good. I like the way you think, Ryan.
they won a ton of games.
I mean, it's okay.
Brett Favre.
Brett Favre is incorrect. The answer is actually someone who played for the Lions, Barry Sanders, 1990.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
And they went 9-7. So it is possible for a player on a 9-7 team to win MVP.
Sure. And again, part of the MVP race, you got to remember, like psychotic morons like Pete Prisco are voting for this, right? Try to get yourself inside Pete Prisco's head. You're there for 5 seconds. You realize what a dark, demented, sick world it is, and you bolt. But you got a glimpse of who's voting for MVP. And remember, the narrative of Detroit going 9-7 or 10-6 and winning the division is strong, and Stafford will get a lot of love for that.
Trubisky wins 8 games. I thought that was bolder than it was, and I checked, and he won 11 games 2 years ago. They went 8-7 last year. Of course, he's battling, quote unquote, with Nick Foles. I think him winning 8 games is almost impossible, but maybe this is the year that he proves that he's really good.
All right, moving along to the break. We'll talk about the AFC South coming up next. Will Doug Marrone survive the season? How deep can the Colts make a run in the playoffs? We'll tell you after the break. Okay, so again, another breachism. Like, let's find the odds. Ryan, what do you think the odds are if we look them up? First coach fired. Who do you think the favorite is in Las Vegas?
I'll go with either Bill Belichick or Mike Tomlin. Is that who it is?
That's not it. Breech, do you happen to know who the favorite to be fired first is?
Adam Gase.
Okay. Who's the next favorite?
Dan Quinn.
No, he's looking at it.
Are you really looking at him?
I don't know. I thought maybe you knew the odds.
All right. Who's the third?
Doug Marrone.
He's
And,
looking.
what's your bold prediction for the AFC South, Breech?
My bold prediction for the AFC South is that Jacksonville actually fires this guy. He's the first coach fired this year. See, a lot of coaches can get fired, but it's not easy to be the first coach fired. A lot has to go into it. You have to be.
It happens every year.
How recent are these odds you're looking at?
I don't want to tell you.
Because I feel like, by the way, just so how smart these first coach fired odds are, I'm looking at an old post from September 2018. Sean McDermott favored his first NFL head coach to be fired.
Who wrote that?
That tells you the odds aren't accurate. So
Timothy
this is
Rath.
a bold prediction.
Let's see if we can find it. By the way, I think John Gruden was up. Belichick was. I mean, what are we doing? This list.
I will gladly
Tomlin was 16-1.
This is my least bold prediction.
You know what's crazy is that Doug Marrone wasn't even on the list because they just gone to the AFC Championship game.
Yeah, he shouldn't have been. I mean, that's fair.
All right, so your bold prediction is that Doug Marrone, who probably is the odds-on favorite to be the first coach fired, will be the first coach fired.
I think that if the Jags start, they have a week 7 bye. If they go 0-6 or 1-5, I think he's gone. Because they also play the Bengals and the Lions in there. If they lose both those games, you're out. You can't lose the Bengals and the Lions. You can't lose the 2 cat teams and expect to keep your job when you're a coach of a cat team.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, cat football rules. So, I mean, I get what you're saying here. Devil's avocado, Larry. The Jaguars have just, as we're recording this podcast on Thursday, and this will be out on Tuesday, we were hearing it, traded safety Ronnie Harrison to the Browns for a what they get, a 5th-round pick in return?
I don't know. I love the move for the Browns, and it's just more ammunition for the Jaguars in the draft.
If I recall correctly, Ronnie Harrison was he's the 93rd overall pick.
Yeah.
So that means they traded Yannick Ngakoue, Ronnie Harrison, and cut Leonard Fournette. That is 3 guys who were picks in the first 3 rounds of the last 3 drafts for the Jaguars. And this is in the past 48 hours. How could you possibly fire Doug Marrone given what he's got to work with?
Here's my thing. Like, if this is all part of, and, I think I was talking about this on the radio. Like, I don't think the Jaguars are tanking because that means that Dave Caldwell, the GM, and Marrone are like, hey, here's an idea. Let's win 1 football game so whoever comes in next can get Trevor Lawrence. That makes a ton of sense. So I don't think they're trying to tank, and I think they're obviously trying to win football games, and they're getting rid of young guys that don't think that work out. That reflects on them for bringing them in the first place, but whatever. But my question is this. How many, like, they're going to end up having 12 first-round picks. How many first-round picks do you need to guarantee that you get Trevor Lawrence? I feel like they have enough draft picks stocked up where they can get Trevor Lawrence if they need to. I don't know if you need to keep trading really good young players. And again, if those players don't fit your scheme, maybe you need to revisit how they got there in the first place.
Maybe you need a new scheme and a new coach. So you fire your coach. Yeah.
It feels like to me that the Jaguars, that Dave Caldwell, who has overseen every draft since 2013 and has done a bold prediction. Dave Caldwell doesn't do a good job retaining players. Dave Caldwell and Doug Marrone have convinced the Khan family, they've conned the Khans into giving them another shot at rebuilding this on the same page. And they blamed everything on Tom Coughlin. And Pete, listen to what Pete Prisco says when he talks about it. He's like, Coughlin did everything. It's like they conned Prisco too. Everybody's convinced Prisco that it was Tom Coughlin's fault that everything's ruined. Maybe it was, I don't know, but they've shifted enough of the blame onto Tom Coughlin. They buried this old man out back, and now they've convinced him that they need a cultural rebuild. I just don't think they're firing Doug Marrone. I also think that the Khan family is sort of, like Shad Khan is sort of looking at like, all right, do I really want to be paying multiple coaches, especially if one has to go over to London? I know Marrone won't go there. They don't have Baloney, yada, yada, yada. Feels like Doug Marrone survives the season no matter what his record is because of how they've constructed this roster and because of the youth on there. They might start 7 rookies, according to Pete Prisco.
So then this is a bold prediction.
No, I'm saying why your prediction is wrong. You took the easy path, and I'm saying it's wrong. He's the favorite to be the first coach fired.
Yeah, but you just read the odds from 2 years ago, and they were way off. So the odds mean nothing.
I'm telling you that in hindsight, your odds are going to look stupid.
All right, I'm going to go next.
What kind of circular logic cemetery am I rolling around in right now?
Don't bury yourself.
Here's a bold prediction.
Oh, boy.
Will Fuller, Brandon Cooks, and Randall Cobb all have fewer receiving yards combined than DeAndre Hopkins.
Whoa, what?
How you like that?
With
Is that bold?
That's insane.
All of them combined?
Yeah.
But 3 of those guys combined will have less receiving yards than DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah. So Will Fuller had 670 last year. He's never had more than that. Was his most ever in four seasons.
This is going to look terrible in 6 months.
It could, but I'm trying to be bold.
That is the boldest one out there.
I'll give you A+, Ryan.
That's all I was looking for. Brandon Cooks had 583 last year. That was his lowest ever, second lowest, except for 2014. And then Randall Cobb actually had a really good year last year with the Cowboys, 828, but the year before that, 383. The year before that, 653. So we need about 1,500 yards from DeAndre Hopkins is what I'm hoping for.
It's possible. That's crazy. That is bold as hell. Did you write that down on the sheet? Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I did. DeAndre had 1,500 in 2018. And, we all love Kyler Murray, so everything goes well.
I think you're banking on multiple injuries.
I'm banking on Billy Brinson. Let's just that's the shorthand.
David Johnson has 3,000 rushing yards. These guys.
Banking on multiple injuries with those 3 players isn't the craziest thing in the world.
Pretty good bet. I mean, you could even convince me that like those 3 guys will have less than 16 games played combined.
That
would actually be a pretty fair matchup against Hopkins. All right, my bold prediction: the Colts win the Super Bowl.
This feels like a Breech Bowl prediction.
Like this year?
This year, the Colts winning the Super Bowl it feels like a Breech Bowl prediction?
I guess. I mean,
25 to 1 is like a lot more than 15 to 1.
That's true. And you said that wasn't bold.
So, I mean, you said who's not going to be in the AFC Championship game? The Chiefs or the Ravens? That means the Colts have to get through them and the Steelers and the Patriots.
Well, Ryan's got the Bills in the AFC Championship. So is it Bills Colts AFC title game? Is that what you're saying? Or are you saying Ryan's wrong?
Who wins that game?
Oh,
Bills,
man.
Colts, baby.
The Colts.
All right. The Colts is bolder than I originally gave it credit for. I'll give you that.
I like the Colts. I have the Colts. If people read on Labor Day my overall prediction for the entire NFL season, I have the Colts in the AFC Championship game. So I am also high on the Colts, and I like the choice here.
All right. Oh, my God. Okay, NFC South. Breech is back to Breech. Go ahead, Breech.
I really slid through there. The Colts win the Super Bowl. By the way, I saw friend of the show, Greg Rosenthal, had the Colts over the Saints. It's a throwback to about 10 years ago when Breeze and Peyton, 2009, Breeze and Sean Payton onside kick in the second half to beat Peyton Manning and Jim Caldwell.
Game was
Caldwell the coach then?
In Miami.
Tony Dungy.
I don't know. I want to say Caldwell. I think Dungy had retired by then. I could be wrong.
I think it's Caldwell. If it's somebody who's going to get pantsed over by a second half onside kick, it would be, it was Jim Caldwell.
I tell you, we talk about Jim Caldwell a lot on this
Sure
podcast.
did.
It's surprising he does not have a job, at least maybe in Detroit. Right,
You're telling me. Go ahead, Breech. Let's hear
All
this
right, guys,
NFC South
my
chicanery.
bold prediction is that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers win the division. Now, let me defend myself.
Oh my
Hey,
God!
The Saints.
I thought you were being sarcastic.
All Brinson is talking about the odds. The Saints are the overwhelming favorite to win this division at -120. Buccaneers are plus 160 to win the division. Those aren't great odds. I mean, you win serious money if you bet on them. So I am taking it.
I'm sorry, serious money?
Yeah.
What are the odds again?
Plus 160.
Okay, so less than 2 to 1.
1.6 to 1, precisely.
That's the same odds Breech has to beat you in tennis.
I mean, yeah,
Exactly.
plus 160. You
So
win.
if you parlay,
You sound like one of those
if you parlay the Buccaneers winning the division with me beating Brinson in tennis, now you're really rich instead of just kind of rich.
You sound like when you say serious money, you sound like one of those that sometimes you read on like sportsline.com where it's like, he's on a heater of unprecedented proportions. Bookies are paying this guy out the wazoo. It's like, you're going to win some serious money.
He's Jim Cramer, basically.
Yeah, it's like, serious money.
Roll up your
Plus
sleeves.
160. Get out of here.
I'm going to give that prediction an A+. All right.
Very well. My bold prediction, and this is what bold means, Breech. Leonard Fournette leads the NFL in rushing.
Wow, that's bold.
Bold. So he's had.
I would have even accepted Leonard Fournette leads the Buccaneers in rushing.
Right. So according to Bruce Arians last week, Rojo, which apparently that nickname's catching on, by the way. Props to me on that. Ronald Jones remains the lead back. Keyshawn Vaughn's still there, their third-round pick. We'll see if he remains there through the weekend as we're recording this. Who's the other? Ogunleway is there. Is there another back? Oh, LaShawn McCoy. So those are the guys that are there. But I think change of scenery is going to be good for Leonard Fournette. He had 1,000 rushing yards last year, had 1,100 1,100 last year, 1,000 as a rookie. And we know this is Tom Brady's offense. And if you look at Tom Brady during his tenure with the Patriots, they do have running backs there that they lean on. It's not just Tom Brady throwing the ball 1,000 times a game. I have to go back to 2004 Breech when your guy Corey Dillon came over, and he, I believe, led the NFL in rushing that year. With over 1,500 rushing yards, perhaps. So the takeaway is it can happen, and it's going to happen this year with Lawrence.
And Fournette has the same odds of winning the rushing title as Alvin Kamara, Todd Gurley, and David Johnson.
Where?
With our friends at William Hill.
I don't know that that's updated entirely.
I can.
Go look at Defensive Player of the Year and tell me if Derwin James is still on there. Because he was on there yesterday.
Yeah, but it's different with an injury because no one would bet an injured player, so you don't need to remove him.
Unless you don't know.
Look, I think that is crazy. Look, first of all, that's crazy bold. I think if you could have gotten away with he'll lead the NFC South in rushing, and we would have been like, that's really bold.
Nope, going all out.
Because you have Todd Gurley, Christian McCaffrey. Wow. And Alvin Kamara. Is that the most star-studded running back group in the out of a division?
I feel like the NFC East, you got Zeke, Saquon,
Miles.
AFC North, you got Joe Mixon, Nick Chubb.
I'm gonna go. I'm saying star-studded, not best.
Yeah, NFC.
On Fournette, by the way, we didn't even record or even discuss recording a Leonard Fournette signs with Bucks emergency podcast. It happened sort of at the last minute on Wednesday. Obviously, a tennis night for me last week. There was a lot of hubbub made about this, and
I saw you tweeting about it.
I was tweeting about. Was I tweeting about it?
About the photoshops with all the running backs on the picture together.
People got to stop it. They're like, who's going to stop the Bucks offense now? And it's like a picture of like Ronald Jones, LaShawn McCoy, and Leonard Fournette. It's like anybody can stop them because they're only going to have 4 offensive linemen when you put 3 different running backs on the team. Like they think anybody can stop them. What are you talking about? This is insane.
Yeah, you're on Twitter too much. That's my takeaway. I agree.
Well, I didn't want to call it CBS in particular.
Leonard Fournette finished.
Our social team was like, who's going to stop this team now?
Fournette finished 7th in the NFL in rushing last year. Just 1 point. Leonard Fournette.
Yeah, if he leads the league in rushing, it would be a major stunner. I don't know what Bruce Arians is going to do with this. I think Evan Silva, who was on this podcast for Fantasy Week and who was on the Draftathon last week, had a great point that with Fournette, it may not even come down to who's the better running back. It may come down to who does Tom Brady want on the field. Like who's Tom Brady like out there, and who makes Tom Brady comfortable, and who keeps Tom Brady protected. Now we don't know that Ronald Jones. We don't know what he's done in terms of improving as a pass blocker, and we don't know how Leonard Fournette will be as a pass blocker. He's not traditionally a great pass blocker.
And by the way, Bruce Arians likes to throw the ball 50 times a game.
Yeah. Although he did once give Rashard Mendenhall 324 carries in the season.
And Rashard had 12 fumbles.
Yeah.
That's exactly.
So I could see Lenny Fournette being a grinder here. I'm not investing in any of those guys for fantasy. People are freaking out about it. People freaked out about the Kamara trade stuff. Like, just don't freak out about it. Don't draft the Buccaneers running back.
I am in a fantasy league with you guys. I took Fournette in the 3rd round thinking he was going to be Jacksonville's running back, and I was a little iffy on it. I actually feel better about myself now that he plays for the Buccaneers and not the Jags.
Do you?
Yeah, I'd rather have him in Tampa Bay than Jacksonville.
Would you have drafted in the 3rd round if he had already been cut and signed with the Buccaneers? No.
Yeah, probably not.
So you probably don't feel as good because you could have gotten him in the 4th round.
But I feel better about the production he might get.
But where you have to draft Leonard Fournette, by the way, you took him in the 3rd round of a 10-team league? Are you serious?
I don't remember which round it was, to be honest.
You serious, Clark?
2nd round.
Oh, boy, it might have been.
Should we look at this draft room and see?
Don't do it. It
Let's
really
find
might.
out. Did you take him in the 2nd round? Because I just passed on him in like the 7th round of a 20-team league.
Just wait till he wins me my fantasy title.
I mean, that could happen, I suppose.
Look, Ryan's prediction.
You took him at the top of the. You took him at the top of the 5th round, right ahead of Robert Woods, Juju Smith-Schuster, ahead of Todd Gurley, Allen Robinson, Calvin Ridley, Terry McLaurin, and AJ Brown were still on the board. Odell Beckham.
I feel better about myself.
Yeah, I think that. So this would be my point for anybody drafting and listening to this week. If you are thinking about taking Leonard Fournette and you have to take him in the 5th, 6th, or 7th round, there are way better and more reliable and more upside-filled options at the wide receiver position, like Robert Woods, Juju Smith-Schuster, Allen Robinson, Calvin Ridley, Terry McLaurin, A.J. Brown, and maybe it's 3rd, 4th, 5th round, whatever it is. Just get those guys instead. Will Fuller, Michael Gallup. Go get the wide receivers there. Don't draft Leonard Fournette there.
Or be a believer in Ryan Wilson's bold prediction that Leonard Fournette will lead the NFL in rushing and take Fournette with your 2nd-round pick. Get crazy like Wilson did with his prediction.
Yeah.
That's my advice.
All right, go ahead, Brinson.
Not a good fantasy.
My bold prediction is that Teddy Bridgewater of the Carolina Panthers finishes the season top 10 in passing yards and fantasy points scored at the quarterback position. It's pretty bold.
I give that a
How
C.
many yards does that have to be based on last year
For
top 10s? I'm trying to look real quick.
Yeah, I guess I could look that up before I made the bold prediction, huh?
For top 10, he'd have to get roughly 4,000. Mahomes actually finished in 10th place, but he missed 2 games, and he threw for 4,031 yards.
Who's just above Mahomes?
Carson Wentz. And just above him is Derek Carr. And just above him is Tom Brady.
So Derek Carr, then 2 injured guys. I mean, that's bold on what's going to be a terrible Panthers team, I guess.
I mean, Teddy Bridgewater going for like 4,300 yards is pretty bold.
Yeah, that's good. He'll still finish behind Joe Burrow, though.
It's entirely possible. Here's the top 10 quarterbacks in fantasy scoring last year, just looking at our sort of standard league here. Lamar Jackson, Dak Prescott, Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, Jameis Winston, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Kyler Murray, Aaron Rodgers, Carson Wentz. I think he will slide in there with old Carson.
Well, I will say this to knock some boldness off of Brinson's prediction. Kyle Allen, who was the Panthers quarterback last year, averaged 255.5 passing yards per game. If he had started all 16 games, that averages out to 4,088 yards and would have put him in the top 10. But obviously, he didn't play all 16; only played 13.
So maybe I'm pulling a breach here.
All right.
Because Teddy Bridgewater should start all 16 games. Their defense is going to be trash. Their run game, I don't think will be that great as good as Christian McCaffrey is. I think it'll be more like a short passing game and occasionally running out of shotgun more. I think they'll be up tempo. I think he'll have lots of dinks and dunks to guys like DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel, McCaffrey, of course, that result in big yak plays. He's not going to have to stretch the field. So he's not going to throw the ball a ton, but he's going to average a ton of yards per attempt on short yardage, big yak plays, and he's going to get there to 4,000 yards.
And because you are pulling a breach, I give your prediction an A+.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It was a breach.
All right, Breech, AFC West. You can go first.
But wait, before we go, should we mention the Falcons? Because
Okay.
Because
Which
podcast where our listener thinks we hate the
right?
Falcons.
Yeah.
Which of the first round picks has the best season? Is it Julio?
Treadwell.
um,
Oh, here's a bowl one that I think is kind of popular in fantasy circles. Calvin Ridley has more receiving yards than Julio Jones.
oh, I was going to say that. Yeah, that's going to be.
My
Calvin-
bold will be Matt Ryan leads the NFL in passing yards.
Is that bold? I think he's the favorite.
Yeah, he's not the favorite. There's no way he's the favorite.
Todd Gurley rushes for
Mahomes
1,000
is probably
yards.
the favorite. Todd Gurley rushes for 1,000 yards. That's bold.
Is it? You can get 1,000 in 10 weeks if you're good.
I mean, not when you have an. Well, I mean, I guess he was just feuding with Sean McVay. He's not actually hurt.
Despite Breech's sources.
Never led the NFL in passing yards. But yeah, Todd Gurley. I mean, even when he was banged up last year, he still put up what? Like,
I thought about Ryan. I thought betting Ryan, but I looked at it. He's top 3. But no, I think that's a great prediction. I don't know that it's like a bold prediction. I like it. If you can get that to qualify as bold, then you should use that instead of.
Here, how about this?
Buccaneers win the division.
Todd Gurley has more touchdowns than Julio Jones.
That's actually pretty bold.
I feel like he went to that stretch where he had almost 0 touchdowns.
Right, exactly. So what
I've got one more bold prediction for this division, not Falcons related. So Matt Ryan tied with Dak at 7-1 for second place for most passing yards.
There you go.
So that's actually more bold than Buccaneers win the division. Maybe you should change it up, Breech.
All right, Matt Ryan leads the NFL, not just the division.
The Bucs are plus 160. It's unbelievable. What a bold prediction. Here's my other one. Alvin Kamara wins Offensive Player of the Year.
Oh, okay. Well, that'll be good for his.
Is this before or after his holdout?
They're going to pay him before the season starts. I bet they might even pay him by the time people listen to this.
Oh,
right,
if they pay him, he won't win it. If they don't pay him, he will win it.
That might be.
AFC West. Breech, you go first so I can follow.
All right. You know what? Our predictions apparently tie together, except not at all. My prediction is that the Broncos, who everybody seems to be riding this hype train, I think that hype train is going straight off a cliff. It's going to explode. No one's going to survive because the Broncos are going to finish in last place in the AFC West. I think their schedule's too tough. I think there's too many questions on the offensive line. I think they do have weapons, but I'm not convinced that Drew Lock can take advantage of them. So I think they're going to go 4-12, 5-11, and finish in last place. Ryan, you think that too, don't you?
Exactly. I think that, but the opposite. The Broncos are going to make the playoffs.
Ooh, we need a fight. We need like the guys have on the Cover 3 podcast have like when they have fights about
oh yeah,
like they won when they agree on a pick, they do UNITY by Aretha. I mean by Aretha Franklin, Queen Latifah.
Aretha Franklin.
I don't, sorry.
What's going on over there?
Well, RESPECT. So you're spelling both out.
Oh, okay. Just words,
Just
letters,
just total words. And then but then they like have one where they go off. It's like lock fight.
All right. Well,
Broncos dead last in the division versus Broncos make the playoffs.
You're the sound guy. Get on that. So look, Von Miller's going to bounce back. People got angry this summer when I didn't have him on my top 10 edge rushers.
Is not that hurting.
And Bradley Chubb, your guy's coming back. He's going to be healthy to book in Von Miller. That defense is really good. I like them a lot. And then the offense is going to be lights out for each. The biggest question mark, of course, is quarterback Drew Lock. I think he's going to maybe take a few weeks, but I think he's going to bring it all together by October. And that team is going to be rolling.
Okay, well, if he brings it together by October, he has to play the Patriots and Chiefs. Is he going to bring enough together in October to beat those two teams?
The Brian Hoyer Patriots, they're not beating the Brian Hoyer Patriots. I'll give you that. But they'll beat the Chiefs in a game that you will be talking about for years to come. They're going to the playoffs.
Are they going to beat your Steelers in week 2?
Yes, 50-0.
What? And then they got Tom Brady in week 3. I mean, the
another bold prediction.
The schedule's brutal.
All right. Well, we'll see, won't we?
Brinson does not have a Broncos prediction.
No, I'm off the Broncos this year after
what they did to your boy.
Well, I'm just a moron. That was a dumb prediction last year. Look, there are bold predictions. So I'm making fun of Breech for his bold predictions that, it's like that are kind of like quasi likely or like the probability is reasonable of it happening. My bold predictions the last few years have gotten a little out of whack. The Garrett Bradbury thing, the Broncos winning the division over Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. Although I will say they did kind of make a run, and Mahomes got hurt, and there was like a little bit of a chance of it happening. They lost a bunch.
You said Joe Flacco MVP, so that didn't count.
I never said that. You made those fake ass news that you made up during the preseason in order to try
Maybe.
and perhaps.
What do you got?
So for my prediction, the Chargers, the Los Angeles Chargers, finished with the worst record in all of professional football.
Man, that is bold. That's bolder than anything I've said over the course of our conversation here. I mean, worse than the Redskins and the Jaguars?
Put $1 in the swear jar, Mr. Wilson.
Dang it. All right, let me find my tote board.
Brinson is going to be so drunk.
I'm like $4 down.
Money is going to Brinson's drinking fund.
Gonna be lovely.
What do you like? Okay, I know you're worried about Derwin James, and that's obviously a huge loss on defense. They're going to run the ball 35 times a game.
Their upside on offense is non-existent.
But they're going to win games or lose games 13-10 every week.
Well, that's a dangerous formula.
And their defense, like the first game, say against Cincinnati, they get to go against a rookie quarterback. No matter what we think of Joe Burrow, he's a rookie quarterback. That's going to be his first game. There's no preseason games. He's going to go in there. He's got to face Joey Bosa. That defense is going to be strong even without Derwin James. Then you have Carolina 2 weeks later. They play the Jets. They play the Dolphins. They play Jacksonville. They just have a lot of winnable games. So I will agree. This is a Super Bowl prediction. Super bold.
So here's the thing. The Chargers constantly deal with tons of injuries. Tons of them. They're
who
always
you're worried about?
What's that?
Who else besides Derwin James is injured right now that you're concerned about?
I'm not concerned. I'm worried about in-season injuries.
No.
Because they always happen to the
They
Chargers.
always have. Mike Williams is hurt before the season starts. Now he might be a go for the game. By the way, the Chargers are looks like this is from August 31st. Greg Allman posted it from Bet Online. Greg Allman of the Athletic posted it. But the Chargers 25-1 to have the first pick in the 2021 NFL Draft. Jags, Washington, Panthers, Bengals, Giants, Dolphins, Jets, Lions, Raiders, Cardinals, Falcons, and Broncos all ahead of the Chargers. So this is indeed bold. But guys get hurt all the time for Los Angeles. And I think that even though it's likely that Tom Telesco and the Chargers organization has promised Anthony Lynn that he can have a full season with Tyrod Taylor to see what he can do, if they start like 1-5 or 0-6 or 2-4, it is entirely possible that they pull the string and they go right to Justin Herbert and see what they got in the rookie. I think teams talk about all the time they want to redshirt him for a season. You go to Herbert, and this season is going to get ugly fast. 3-win season. Chargers have the top overall pick in the draft.
I do think that if they lose to the Bengals in week 1, that is where Brinson – that's like your season's already in meltdown mode. If you lose to Cincinnati, the worst team in football last year, who's starting a rookie quarterback, you're off the cliff. You're done.
All right, well, we'll see. As you mentioned.
And yes, you can replay that if they go to the playoffs after losing the Bengals in week 1 to you.
All right. Moving to nothing really bold to predict about the Chiefs, I don't think.
The Chiefs win 10 games. I think that would be bold.
Right, just don't mess around with the Chiefs. Like you don't need to make any predictions about the Chiefs. How about the Raiders?
Brinson, I'm surprised you don't have a Raiders prediction, to be honest.
I should make my bold prediction like
Derek Carr's your favorite quarterback.
Oh, you know what? While we're here, hold on. Let's see.
Marcus Mariota starts more games than Derek Carr.
That should have been your bold prediction.
I know, and they go to the playoffs, which I said the moment they signed Marcus Mariota.
It wouldn't be a Pick Six podcast if we didn't do our due diligence. So I was perusing NFL.com. This is where I found that Greg Rosenthal is on the Colts too. So I'm glad that Greg and I are on this bandwagon together. Wants to see Phillip Rivers get that ring. And this is sort of hypocritical, I guess. But see if you can guess what analyst wrote this prediction. Raiders over Cowboys in the Super Bowl. Down 6 in the final drive, Derek Carr, channeling Kobe Bryant, marches the Raiders down the field to the 8-yard line with 24 seconds left. Kobe 8-24 on the clock. Derek throws a laser for a touchdown to Darren Waller on a post route. Everything that's been built up over the years is behind that throw, and the power of God launches this ball straight into Waller's grip. The Cowboys get one final chance, but it ends when Max Crosby hits Dak Prescott as he throws the ball, and Damon Arnett seals the game with a pick six. Raiders! Any guesses as to what NFL media analyst wrote that prediction down for their Super Bowl predictions?
John Gruden would not even write something that insane.
Any guesses? I'll give you one guess.
You can break the.
That's
news.
right. It's Rich Eisen. No, it's David Carr predicted the Raiders over the Cowboys. Oddly enough, the Raiders, so they did, I think they did like 40 people. Actually, I don't know how many people it is. It's probably 26 people over there at NFL.com. I'll be curious to see how ours stack up when they're published next week. 16 voters, Kansas City Chiefs. 6 for the Ravens. 4 for the Saints. 2 for the Steelers. 2 for the 49ers. 1 for the Washington football team. No, just kidding. 1 for the Cowboys. 1 Packers, 1 Colts, 1 Raiders, and 1 Buccaneers. This is a season where you can really, I think, hit on a bold Super Bowl pick and differentiate yourself because everybody and their brother is picking the Chiefs and the Ravens to win the Super Bowl.
Well, last year I had the Chiefs and the Seahawks. That was close. And that was pretty conventional.
Last year I had the Chiefs.
Everyone had the Chiefs last year. We get it. Everyone's going to pick.
Chiefs.
Everyone is picking the Chiefs.
Who did you have last year? Not
The
the
Vikings.
Chiefs. Boom.
So did you. You had the Vikings in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs, nerd.
Had the Chiefs winning it all.
Look, here's the reality. For the next 10 years, or as long as Patrick Mahomes is playing, 60% of the NFL media circles are going to pick the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl, and that's fine. It's like the Patriots usually are. Whatever. Be a sheeple. Sheep.
Brinson, do you want to be different or do you want to be right? I mean, that's what it comes down to.
I'd rather be different and right.
So the other team I had my Super Bowl prediction last year, the Seahawks, which means we should now move to the NFC West.
By the way, I'll throw out this prediction. Henry Ruggs leads the AFC West in receiving yards.
Yeah, that ain't happening.
Okay. I think he has a big year.
Hunter Renfrow has more receiving yards than Henry Ruggs.
Does
That's
Henry
happening.
Ruggs get traded to the Chiefs mid-season? Is that what's going on?
All right, to the AFC West. Wilson, you can start because you mentioned the Seahawks.
Yeah, Russell Wilson wins MVP, which obviously, according to the odds, is not that impressive. But as Diva pointed out, the man has never won the award, even though he's deserved it. And part B of that, Kyler Murray finishes number 2 in MVP voting, which might be more impressive than Russell actually winning the whole thing.
That's way more impressive.
I should have led with that then.
Russell Wilson has never gotten an MVP vote, which is
Criminal.
It's insane.
a mind-blowing fact.
So I wanted to give it to Kyler, but I wanted Russell to win it, which he has never done. So I gave Kyler number 2.
How many players do you think have gotten an MVP vote
Ever?
since Russell Wilson's rookie year? So
2012.
This is how many players have gotten one, but not Russell.
Well, Russell hasn't gotten one. I know that. So I will say 15 players since 2012 have gotten at least one vote.
Brinson, how many you think?
Since 2012?
Yep.
Well, let's see. Mahomes was unanimous. There's one Breeze vote. So that's 3. All right. So, since 20, what year is it? Since what year? 2012?
It's 2020 now.
Are you
2012
think
when Russell.
about this out loud?
I know,
Well,
this
I
is
mean, Matt
crazy.
Ryan and Tom Brady split them, so that's 2.
How do
You
you
got
know
Drew
the
Brees
vote
and
breakdown?
Because I do my job. Because Patrick Mahomes and Drew Brees split them, that's 4. Lamar Jackson is 5 since 2012. That means you have some Aaron Rodgers in there. You got Cam Newton in there. Carson Palmer's in there. I'm going to say 24 people.
You guys almost split the difference. The answer is 19. So 19 players have gotten at least one vote since 2012. Russell Wilson is not one of them. I think a couple of the odd ones. Brinson, you actually nailed a lot of them. Surprised you got the Carson Palmer one. That's one I probably wouldn't have thought of if I didn't have the list in front of me. DeMarco Murray got one vote.
I know one.
I
know it. This is the craziest one ever. Bobby Wagner.
Bobby Wagner. Then we had Peyton Manning. Yeah, Russell Wilson's own teammate, Bobby Wagner, has gotten a vote. Russell Wilson has not. Peyton Manning won the award in 2013. Adrian Peterson won it in 2012. Derek Carr has an MVP vote.
Yep.
Russell Wilson does not. Carson Wentz, Todd Gurley, both have MVP votes. Russell Wilson does not. You know who else has one? Our CBS colleague, Tony Romo.
Oh, yeah. He got one in 2014, huh?
Yes.
So, fun fact for you, Breech. Trivia question for you. Or Wilson, whoever. Do you know who voted for Bobby Wagner for MVP?
I think I do.
What year was it?
Was it Tony Dungy?
That's correct. It was Tony Dungy. And Wilson, I know you've been in the voting room, when we get the information about who got what, who won the awards for.
Oh, right, yeah.
But you're too busy taking pictures and Googling.
That was our jam for 5 years or so.
Yeah, you're too busy ogling Olivia Munn and her
yeah.
arm piece, Aaron Rodgers.
We were standing next to someone that works in the NFL offices. I remember distinctly. He said, "Hey, that's Olivia Munn right there."
Yeah. I've
Yes,
seen
it
that.
is.
Yeah.
I noticed her when she walked in.
All right, Breech, you and I have similar but different bold predictions for the NFC West.
We do. I have all 4 teams are going to finish above 500, but all 4 of them do not make the playoffs.
500 or above 500?
500 or above. So all 4 teams are going to finish at 8-8 or better. And that's never happened in the NFC West. The division has existed since 1970, and there's never been an instance where every team in the division finished at 500 or above. I think the Cardinals are the big question mark this year. Can they get to 8-8?
So what's your
Brinson thinks they can.
what's your ranking? How are they going to finish these 4 teams?
My ranking for the 4 teams is Seahawks 1, 49ers 2, Rams 3, Cardinals 4.
Okay.
The Cardinals finish 8-8 and miss the playoffs. Is that your goal?
Cardinals 8-8 and miss the playoffs.
Other 3 teams make it?
So Brinson, yes, the other 3 teams make it.
Ooh.
Brinson is
I have the Cardinals going 9 and
Brinson's going to go bolder.
Yeah, I think the Cardinals can win the division. I think they're going to be that good. I will take all 4 NFC West teams, to make the playoffs. Now that gets things a little dicey. Obviously, that is all 3 of the wild cards this year. And is that right? All 3 of the wild cards? Which means that one of the Saints or Buccaneers cannot make the playoffs.
Like what's bolder? That all 4 teams in the NFC West make the playoffs, or the Chargers win 3 games?
Both probably reasonably bold. I don't know if I don't think it's that crazy though. So
It is.
well, do you
said
think
the Saints and the Bucs aren't going to make the playoffs?
one of those teams is going to miss the playoffs? Do you think that the Eagles? Do you think 2 of the NFC East teams are making the playoffs? I don't. I think it'll be the division winner.
If the Eagles get healthy.
I think one of the NFC North teams will make the playoffs.
Yeah.
And so then it basically boils down to, will the 4th NFC West team beat out the 2nd NFC South team?
Right. Yeah.
Breech, do those teams play each other?
Who?
NFC South and NFC West? Why do I feel like they do?
NFC South and NFC West. I mean, they all play at least one.
Crossover.
Right. So you have, for instance, the Cardinals play. Who do the Cardinals play?
Breech
They
usually
play the
has-
Panthers. They play the Panthers.
See, the Cardinals, that the last place team gets the last place team. That's pretty big for Arizona to try and make the playoffs. And that means that you could have, since Tampa Bay was 2nd in the division last year, they'll now play the Seahawks, right?
And the 49ers play the Saints.
Right. So, and then the Rams will play the Falcons. So it's entirely possible that the NFC West sweeps the NFC South. And if that happens, then there's actually a good chance of this going down.
There's a chance of it going down. Not a.
It's a bold prediction. I think it's probably more. I think what Breech suggested, 3 teams make it is far more likely.
I think the reason I like what you're saying, Brinson, is if you look at the Cardinal schedule, they open up with the 49ers, and that's obviously a tough game, but they played 49ers tough twice last year. The 49ers struggled to stop Kyler Murray. But after that, they played the Lions, the Panthers, and the Jets. Like, those are 3 very, very winnable.
Whoa. The Lions are winning the division, according to you, numbnuts. So is it easy or not?
According to me, according to Brinson. Get your
I mean, they tied last year. It could go any which way.
They tied last year. You can't say that every day.
They tied after Matt Patricia coached himself out of a 24-3.
Unbelievable. Remember, Matthew Stafford's rolling out. We talked about this last week. He's about to hit J.D. McKissick for a 42-yard touchdown that just untouched to the end zone. And Matt Patricia's like sprinting out on the field, calling timeout. Stafford's like, "Are you effing kidding me, bro?" So, yeah. Look, these are not bold because they're freebie. It's not the Chiefs are winning the AFC West. It's not what bold is. They're bold predictions.
Gotcha.
Okay, so I don't know what we'll be talking about tomorrow, but it'll probably be previewing the professional football season. Debo's sprinting over here to his computer to tell me what we'll be talking about.
It will be the first official Brady Quinn football show of the season.
Wow. Cool. Wow, don't get too excited, guys, about Brady Quinn being on. Will the Super Friends be joining us or just me and Brady?
No, I don't get to talk to Brady this year, so I'm not excited at all.
You can if you want to.
I'm kidding.
EQ.
All right, that's it for the show. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow with Brady Quinn. Football. 48 hours. Let's go.